It's 8-10 minutes from Yishem. There is very chosh them tonight. I want to welcome them and welcome back some of our old Mishpalim that we haven't seen for Yud Beis Chodesh almost for 12 months. All the Mishpach and others. And here in Brooklyn and Queens, we're the only one in business here all year long. And in Brooklyn and Queens, the one block, not only one disparish, but 2, 3, and 5. And they're always anxious to make sure that they have enough mispalim. And one particular besmedrish, one of the mispalim was missing. He was a regular. It's like regulars to come. They counted on him, and he was missing for about 5-6 weeks. They didn't see him. Then he showed up again. So they gave him a big shalom aleichem. He said, "How are you? What happened to you? Where were you?" He said, "Oi." He said, I said, "I wasn't well. I had a coronary. I was hospitalized for some 5 weeks." Oh, he said, "Baruch Hashem, I thought you wanted to do this message." Baruch Hashem, we all back you. The Pirkei Chamishi is all goes with numbers. Asher Mamoris, Asher Nisyonis, then it goes on to Yeshiva Dvar and Begoyim, then Harba. And even though there's no hemshech, no connection between one mission and the other, but it's because of the Chazal, they understood all the Chochmas, they understood psychology and psychiatry, and they understood the workings of the mind of a human being very much. And this was Torah Sheba'al Peh, so the oral Torah, it had to be committed to memory. So the very memory by association, associating by different whatever it is. So here by numbers, it made it easier to retain all of the Torah Sheba'al Peh. If you want to mention briefly one thing that we'll go into Zalm Yov. Ben Sholish, it says about who are you, Eimer, that Ben Chomesh L'Mikra, when the child is 5 years old, he starts to learn Chumash, Mikra. Ben Esher the Mishnah, when he's 10, so the Mishnah, he learns Mishnah. Ben Yud Gimel L'Mitzvahs, when he's 13, 13 is a Bar Mitzvah. That's at 13 he becomes a godel. He's an adult. An adult, he's Mechayiv Mitzvahs. That's by a Yid. In the Teshuvas HaRosh, it brings what's with a goy. When are there two categories by non-Jews by goyim as a godel a cotton? Definitely is. We see it brought down in Rambam, brought down by Hilchos Melachim, by a goy shev mitzvahs when he's compelled to do mitzvahs, yishav mitzvahs. When he's not, there's a chereshoit just by Yid Mahavlu, there's chereshoit of a cotton. By goy also, there's chereshoit of a cotton that he's absolved. He's not responsible for keeping the Sheva mitzvahs. So we see there are those two categories as well. So the question is, when does a goy become a godel? And so there's a Teshuvas HaRosh. Teshuvas HaRosh brings that we know by us Yidden, when does he become an adult? Why? What is this based on? It's based on because halachah l'mayishmi Sinai, shiurim, chatzis, mechitzin, all of these shiurim, these measurements, and this data is based on halachah l'mayishmi Sinai. And the Teshuvas HaRosh brings that was only given to Yidden, the Klal Yisrael, halachah l'mayishmi Sinai. So a goy doesn't have this category altogether. So when does a goy become a god? Well, we'll go into that another time. I just wanted to mention this, a whole very interesting shmuz that Teshuvas HaRosh with Chassam Sefer, with a more Ksubis and Ger Kotna. We're going to Arba Midas Does
he say an age in the end?
Huh?
Does he say an age at the end?
No,
What?
Does he say what the age is at the end?
I can't hear you.
Does he say what age it is at the end?
IQ.
Oh, no, there's no age. Oh, there's no age. There's no age. It works differently. It doesn't go with age. It doesn't go with age. It works differently. Very, very beautiful. There's 4 midas in niceness tzedakah. 4 types, categories in niceness tzedakah. There's those he himself, he wants to give, and he doesn't want others to give. If I give this, he doesn't want somebody. If I give that, somebody else should. He shouldn't give, and others shouldn't give. So that's a Russian, so a wicked person. Others should give, and he shouldn't give. He doesn't. And who ye take mit lachem, that's a chosed. He should give, and you want somebody to give, he's a chosed. Tzedakah is one of the Taryag mitzvahs, one of the 613 mitzvahs. We know the Chazal were misaken on mitzvahs. You're misaken a mitzvah shofar, you make a bracha. Matzah on Pesach, you make a bracha. Tefillin, you make a bracha. A milah, you make a bracha. And even mitzvahs rabbanon, Chanukah, with venture, you make a bracha. A Megillah, you make a bracha. All mitzvahs, you make a bracha. Mishachta behemah, shchita, you make a bracha. We don't find that the Chazal, Chachamim were misaken a bracha on the mitzvah of tzedakah, giving tzedakah. So the Mepharshim say that because all the other mitzvahs, it depends upon only the individual himself. He wants to undertake to do the mitzvah, so he goes out and he buys himself a shofar, buys himself a pair of tefillin, and buys himself matzah. He goes to shul to hear the Megillah, to hear shofar. So he's ready to do the mitzvah, and there's nobody that he has to be involved, that he depends upon to make the mitzvah complete. So the Meideh, you can make a bracha. But by mitzvah tzedakah, it depends, it's not upon him, it depends upon somebody that's ready and willing to accept it. Even though a Norman was standing there, he might even knock on your door, and he asks for help. It could be the last minute. His pride will get the best of him, that's a shemen. He won't want to take it. You start making the bracha, and so it'll be a bracha v'atolah. Or Chasidim and Shemaise, you're going to go make a bracha. They doesn't gain the mikveh, put out a gartel, say Shem Yichud, and the Vayzos and the Shamayis gain. So they weren't masaking the bracha on the mitzvah of tzedakah. The Horeitze, what's the pshat? Horeitze, what's the pshat that if he himself wants to give, he doesn't want others to give. So if Ragintnish, that some of the what's Ragintnish? What's your business? So Yanagit Joy, Yanagit Nish. Why should they describe it as being Ein Rabbi Shalachim? The pshat is because he knows that the Chazal tell us Aser to Aser. Because by giving tzedakah, Chazal tell us that a person he prospers. He gets a return from it. David should bench him that he'll prosper because he gave tzedakah. He'll prosper. So he does this bracha. If I didn't finish, that somebody else should have it. So I say Ein Rabbi Shalachim. It was by 4 might only tell 1 or 2 of them tonight because on our marriage. There was a Yid in Berditchev that was known as a Kamson. Whenever they approached him, so he would always turn them down. So, as Avek from the Welt, he left this world, and the children came to the Chevra Kadisha, to the Burial Society, looking for a plot to be the stakers. They look. Here was the opportunity for them to collect for all the years that he never participated. They came, there was nobody home, so they wanted an exorbitant fee for the plot. So they were outraged, and between themselves they couldn't settle it, so they had to go to the Rav, went to the Berditchev Rav. Berditchev Rav heard what the sichsach was, who was the one, the nifter who was involved. He said, he says, take from the children, the Yorshim, whatever they want, and not only that, he says, I myself am going to Levi. You can imagine the response, the feeling of the Chazak Kaddish. Here they had the children, they were in a position to give, and they had the children in their hands, and you should let them, of all people, the Berditchev Rav should let them just get off like this. So he told them to do this, they did it. And they heard that he's going, so everybody went. So they gave him a car kit at the regular price, and he had a bakovitik Levi. There was a tremendous trouble. After Levi, one of the Chazak Kaddish took courage in his hands, and he went over to him and says, Rebbe, he said, what's the pshat? He said, this man, the children have biyah to give. Why should we collect for all the years? He said, I'll tell you why. He said, this year, he had 4 Din Torahs by me. And he won all 4 of them. He said, I'll tell you, one of the Din Torahs they had was like this here. He said, there was a jobber, a wholesaler, a wine wholesaler, that used to take deposits from retail wine stores, and then he would go to the winery and order wholesale and deliver to each one. He came to Berditchev with the deposits from all of the retail stores, and he went into the outside at his hotel, and he gets up the next morning, getting ready to go finish up the deal to pay for the wine. He tops one cashier, another cashier, he doesn't find the money. He looks at another cashier, he looks all over on the floor, and he's frantic. He cannot find the money. From aggravation, from great sorrow, she fainted. They brought the doctor revived him, and he seemed all right. And just as soon as he reminded himself of his plight, he doesn't have the money, he lost all the money, and this continued to happen, and it was a scene in the street that people came running from all sides, and they came running this nifter. And the doctor said that they're reviving him doesn't mean anything. You see, because every time he reminds himself of his tremendous sorrow, his aggravation, he chalishes again. It came from the Welt. He's going to leave this world. The only way is that they can find his money. So this nifter was in the crowd. He heard this. And when he revived him one more time, he ran over and he, under his eyes, says, Rabbi Yid, here, I found your money. Here it is. Oh, er geblieben beim Leben. That healed him, cured him, grown gesund, and was on his way. In the crowd was the Ganef, the one who found the money. At first, his conscience bothered him somewhat. It didn't overtake him, didn't overwhelm him, but he walked away from the scene. He still had the money in his pocket. The further he walked, the closer it came to him, the more it bothered him. Look what he did. He almost cost a man his life. In addition to that, not only that, but somebody, a wild friend or a stranger, should have that much mitfil to take out money from his pocket and make sure that this shit shouldn't lose his life. He couldn't find a place for himself. The next morning he woke up and decided he has to give the money back to this gevir, to this nifter. He comes to this nifter, he comes to him, to the Shir, and he said, what you do is very nice. He said, but I didn't get a chance. Maybe some kind of story why he was late. He said, here, you gave him your money. This is the money that belonged to him. He said, who are you? What are you? How do you come in the middle here? So he wouldn't hear of it. This shit had bothered him very much. So he said, well, you have to go to the Din Torah. So he slept him to the Berditchev. So this Rebbe told the story. He said, Rebbe, he said, you know, I found the sheep's money. The one was sick, who took sick because of it. And this one here, I want to give it back to him. One night, he refused to take it. So Rabbi Fishbain says to him, he says, Rabbi, what's that dir zu sagen? So he says, he says, I never made an agreement with him that I should take back money. He says, where was he when the sheep was about to leave this world? He says, he said, that big mitzvah that I had, that to revive him, he said, I wouldn't sell that mitzvah for all the money in the world. But he says it's gerecht. So he says, Ayid, that one says you didn't tell you, couldn't tell my shame levai. P'nani ben Akash Omer. What's HaKadosh Baruch Hu Zaki says, Yisrael, the Tikov, Kibbul and Torah Mitzvahs, Shenamar, Adrei Chodesh,